Hi, I'm John Byrne with Poets and Quants. I'm on the UCLA campus at the Anderson School. Welcome to our series on Transformative Leaders. I'm here with the Dean of the Anderson School, Tony Bernardo, who actually became Dean after a very long and distinguished career as a finance professor. In recent years, there have been a number of people, critics of the MBA, who are, pretty much naysayers on the value of the degree itself. And I wonder if you think the MBA still has a lot of value. I wonder if you think some of the criticism is justified. Where are you on the MBA today?
I think the value of the MBA is higher than it's ever been. I think it's more important as a leader of an organization to get the kind of training that we offer in an MBA program. I think, for example, having to manage today multiple stakeholders and having to make decisions that address the interests and concerns of multiple stakeholders is a bigger challenge today than it was many, many years ago. And I do think that's the kind of thing that really helps prepare students to be leaders of large organizations. You can also see it in compensation data. If the value of MBA was declining, you wouldn't see that compensation continues to grow at very, very high rates. So the market seems to believe that MBAs are valuable. What I think is also true, though, is that the cost of an MBA education has grown very, very quickly. And that language is important because the remedy is very different. If you think the value of an MBA is in decline, you might question the purpose of the enterprise. If you think the issue is value proposition, then you have to think about how can we effectively deliver the education in a less expensive way. That's a very different challenge. If we think about improving the value proposition, we might, for example, encourage a lot more use of technology to deliver the education. If you think the value of an MBA is in decline overall, nothing's going to help you.
Right. Of course, the world has not become simpler. It's become more complex.
Compensation is one element of, any individual's career goals. We have to be careful as business schools that we don't lose sight of the whole person over their entire lifetime.
Yeah. A lot of people think there are many similarities across MBA programs. Some people might even say that the MBA is a commodity degree. How is the Anderson MBA distinctive?
I think certain elements of an MBA program are commoditized. I mean, if you look across programs, they're teaching very similar core classes. The content in those core classes are pretty similar. And it's not surprising. My field is finance. I know all the key players who write the textbooks, who design the classes at every major school. We're comparing notes, we're sharing syllabi. We're, as faculty, collaborating with faculty at other schools all the time. We're sharing best practices all the time. So there's a number of domains in an MBA education where that's happening. But then there's a whole set of things that schools do and that we do that I think are very different. I can just name a few. We have, for example, a very, very strong emphasis on entrepreneurship and innovation. We have a capstone requirement that can be satisfied by having groups of students come together to develop a new venture idea. Now, that's a very real way of introducing the skills and developing the skills to be an entrepreneur, having a culture of innovation, developing new ventures, because it's fundamentally built in. Now, not every school can do that. We're in one of the most innovative places in the world. No matter what kind of innovation you're interested in, there is someone or some group of people in the community that UCLA Anderson can reach out to. We're not the only school that does that, but we're among the very best schools at doing that. And we have a track record of doing that. And we have, the complementary resources to do that. Some areas that we emphasize that are where we're distinctive depend on local advantages or advantages that we've built up over time. We've traditionally been a very strong school for students interested in media, entertainment, and sports. There's a very good reason for that. We're in the center of that universe. We have a very strong reputation in real estate. There's another, I think, very, very important difference, and that is the culture of different business schools. We have a very collaborative culture. We say here it's sharing success, and the way our students learn to work together, the way they freely develop ideas amongst themselves, I think is an incredibly important part of the culture and the school, and is very distinctive.
You started a strategic review And I'm thinking that maybe one of the things that came out of it is your new positioning on transformative leaders. Now, a lot of schools talk about leadership. It's like the bread and butter of business schools. How is transformative leaders and building them different for Anderson than it would be at another school?
So I think this is a very important question. We have to think about how we are distinctive and differentiating, and certainly leadership is fundamental to all business schools. A lot of analysis and thought went into understanding what are the capabilities of a great leader. And they certainly evolve over time. Fundamentally, we viewed there being two key parts to being a transformative leader. One is you have to be able to solve complex business problems. And what we also understood is today, more and more, data and technology is a critical part. The amount of data in the world is doubling at the rate of about every 18 months or 2 years. Solving complex business problems is going to involve more use of data and being able to understand the limitations. As leaders or as decision makers, nobody wants to see a world where algorithms are making all the decisions. And I think it's fair to say, I don't want to see a world where key decisions in my life are being made now only by humans who don't have access to data and understand how to analyze it. And I think an important thing we have to think about is where is that frontier? And that's relevant in every decision-making realm. And in a business decision setting, I think that's critical. The second part of it is how do you catalyze action? How do you get an organization to move and move and have people be motivated to move in the same direction? A lot of our sort of positioning towards leadership is really much more around an innovative organization. It's less about managing a large, traditional, and perhaps moribund organization. It's much more about leading a dynamic, diverse, and organization that cares about its impact broadly on society. And why did we come to that? Partly because we're in the most dynamic city, I think, in the world. It's forward-thinking, extraordinarily diverse, incredible breadths of opportunity. We're on a campus with extraordinary capabilities in virtually every domain, whether it's engineering, medicine, theater, film and television, law, public health. We have this extraordinary breadth of capabilities. We've introduced new courses, for example, on the business of healthcare. If you want to be a transformative leader in healthcare, you have to really understand many of the nuances of that. And then as a school, we've had a long tradition of being a very innovative school, very entrepreneurial. We think one of the great opportunities for bringing all of these capabilities together is in our capstone. All our students are required to do a 6-month capstone experience before they graduate. And we are designing new capstone experiences where the way we're evaluating different proposals is based on how many of these capabilities of a transformative leader are they developing in that. We can have capstones that really emphasize how you might use data, for example, or new technologies in an interesting business problem. And all of these different things that we're trying to develop can be built into a capstone experience that really ensures that the capabilities we want to develop in our students are really being actualized in their time here.
Is leadership the same as transformative leaders?
We have used the terminology transformative leaders because really focused on the individual, the set of capabilities that allow individuals to transform our organizations and have the greatest positive impact for all of their stakeholders. Leadership, more broadly, is a body of knowledge, a body of thought. In many ways, people think about it as kind of an abstract set of ideas. So that focus on the individual, I think, is really critical.
Yeah, makes sense. Now, you mentioned earlier, Tony, the fact that UCLA has the great advantage of having terrific schools in a number of disciplines and areas. And I wonder, how Anderson is taking advantage of that in building these interdisciplinary corridors, if you will, of educational opportunity.
We think this is a tremendous advantage for us, and this was a major motivation for the decisions we made in the strategic plan. 2 areas that we prioritized are health innovation and sustainability. Why did we choose those 2? Well, one reason we chose them is we're part of a great public university. And public universities should be tackling large societal problems, improving healthcare quality and access, and improving climate and issues of sustainability are arguably the two biggest challenges we face as a society. UCLA has extraordinary depth of ability and resources in those areas. We have arguably the leading health system in the West. We have an extraordinary engineering school, particularly in the area of sustainability, is developing path-breaking technologies. So to give you an example of how we're building those relationships, we created a course last year that helps to commercialize technologies that are being developed in our Institute for Carbon Management in the engineering school. Now, they have technical expertise. We have the expertise to help bring that to market and scale it. So what we did last year is we created a new course co-taught by faculty in the Institute and faculty from Anderson, students from the engineering school, students from Anderson. So now that these ideas are cross-fertilizing, we brought in venture capitalists who are interested in sustainability-related technologies to participate in the class, and we created a small part of an ecosystem that really allows these kinds of relationships to develop.
So Tony, I've had the privilege over the years of sitting down with Anderson students, and I know the school is known for its collaborative culture, but what I see when I sit down with them is incredible connections. Your people really bond with each other here. So I wonder if you might think about, what does it really feel like to be a student here? I know you haven't been a student, but for 30 years you've been interacting with the students here. What does it feel like to actually be a student on this campus?
When I came here 30 years ago, and the reason I chose to come here, I was freshly minted PhD student. My field is finance, spoke to my advisors. I had opportunities to go to several universities, and they also told me the same thing. UCLA is the best place for developing young people. They really care about their young people. They put a lot of energy into building them and making sure that they prosper and reach their fullest potential. You learn as much from fellow students as you do from the faculty. True. In fact, the whole premise of requiring students to have significant amount of career experience before they come to an MBA is based in a significant part on the fact that that helps them learn from each other. Being a student here, I think, is a really different experience than many other schools that I've been associated with and that I'm familiar with. It's really one where students lift each other up. They bring out the best in each other, allow them to reach their fullest potential, and in a sense, co-conspirators in what we're trying to accomplish here, which is really about achieving, having students achieve their fullest potential. And they're playing a really, really big part in doing that.
The other thing I think about Anderson is that, look, you're not an MBA factory. You're not entering 1,000 students in a cohort every year.
Right.
And you're not suboptimal, entering only 150, 200. Your latest cohort size is about 300. That allows for an incredibly intimate experience. It also allows for a lot of opportunities for students to experience leadership potential,
Exactly.
leadership practice. That's the ideal environment that you want.
That's a great point. The scale of the class plays a huge role in this. And we have, I'd say, relative to probably all the top 20 schools, a more diverse set of career goals than really any other school.
A lot of candidates talk about fit, and it's such a vague term. But I wonder, from your perspective, is there a right or ideal candidate for Anderson that would reflect the perfect fit?
I would say, building on our culture, collaborative, empathetic individuals are the kinds of individuals that thrive here. People who are very interested in exploring new ideas, new opportunities, taking advantage of the breadth of possibilities, as opposed to somebody who may have very, very strong views about exactly what it is they want to do in life, is probably a better fit for Anderson.
It's been a real pleasure.
Thanks, John.
This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. We've been speaking with the Dean of the Anderson School at UCLA, Tony Bernardo. Hope you enjoyed our conversation. Thanks for watching.